Hey, this is Chase Sexton. You're listening to the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
What do you guys are we got audio going or what's up?
That is not coming from me. It's coming from your speakers.
Nope. From this computer. What's up, guys? MotoX Vital MX MotoXpod show here. We good? All right, welcome back to the Vital MX MotoXpod presented by Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA. Nice intro. So nice stormy intro there, just like our environment outside.
Yeah, we had that. The YouTube was open up on this computer.
Gotcha. Okay. Anyway, well, we just came off of Daytona Supercross, where Progressive X-Star Suzuki's Ken Roczen gets his very first Daytona Supercross win, first win of the season for him. Pretty awesome to see. We'll talk about that a little bit. Also in the 250 East, Rockstar Husqvarna Factory Racing's RJ Hampshire claims his very first Daytona Supercross win. So very exciting. The MXGP of Argentina was this weekend. We had another round 2 of the GNCC at Wild Boar. So there's a lot of racing going on. I race Saturday and Sunday. We may get into some of those things. We'll just have to decide and see where the show goes. In studio, though, first off, as usual, Scotty, working the cameras. How's everything going?
Yeah, just trying not to get blown away on the way over here. So we're here.
It's pretty brutal outside. I don't know if the mics will pick up. My carport roof is coming apart right now as we speak. Also in studio, before we get going.
Stop acting like an idiot. You're the idiot.
Don't be an idiot. Changed my life.
There's 50-mile-an-hour wind and trees blowing around, and TJ decides he's going to ride his motorcycle for an hour to the show.
I mean, it's only I can afford to get here is ride the motorcycle. No, it's not bad. It's
okay.
We're going to find out on the way home, but
yeah.
I mean, it's not bad. That's what happens when you ride a KLR. They just handle everything.
I would not want to ride a motorcycle in this wind.
I'm actually
on
glad.
The highway at like 50 miles, 60 miles an
75.
hour, 70 miles an hour, fighting the wind blowing in different directions. No, thank you.
We'll find out on the way home.
It's funny that you played that soundbite because as I was pulling in behind him, and like as I saw him pulling, I'm like, God, he's such an idiot.
It wasn't bad on the way
50
here.
50-mile-an-hour winds.
There may or may not be an email that started out again. TJ's.
It's his turn.
We'll get to the Barnett.
Heck yeah.
We'll get to the emails here in a little. Barnett Clutch's emails in a little bit. Starting out though, we're gonna do the Yamaha opening chat. Switching it up a little bit. Starting the show off with Yamaha Motor USA, who has a reputation for dominance. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over decades. The YZ story is over 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. Yamaha took the championship-winning bikes and made them even better because the best don't rest. Check them out at YamahaMotorsports.com, or better yet, just go to your local dealership and check out all that Yamaha has to offer. Tonight, we have some great guests. We've got Aaron Plessinger, Mitchell Oldenburg, and then local privateer Cheyenne Harmon is going to join to talk about winning the GT Arena Motocross Championship. But let's start this thing off with our winner, Ken Roczen. First win. He's now 16 points down the championship, TJ. You think he can claw his way back in?
Right, I hope so. I think he can claw his way to definitely make it interesting if he keeps this up. You know, I think clawing his way in, it's maybe a little early to say that, but yeah, I mean, he'd have to win almost out, I think, and then have a couple issues with some of the other guys.
I think the other guys would have to have some bad races as long as they keep getting podiums. But I do hope he can get back in. It was really great to see how good he rode and how confident he is right now. And that track was awesome. I want to talk about the track in a minute, but just seeing his emotions and then that team, HEP, getting that win, such a big deal for a team like that. Because yes, they are factory supported, but they're not like every other factory team. So,
Right.
yeah, it was just really cool to see. I was torn. I had picked Cooper to win, and when he was catching him, I was like, oh, here we go. So I was sort of torn. But TJ or Scotty, what do you guys think about? What are your thoughts on? I know I guess we're having some issues over there, but what do you think about fine. Kenny?
I was like kind of expecting to, when Coop caught him, I was like, well, we've seen this before. And then Coop made the mistake and he never got it back. And like, yeah, I think it's great for the championship. Yeah. I'm excited to see him kind of close those points. Like, and obviously Chase went 5 more back. So like it's brewing up to be crazy, and Kenny got himself back into it. And I guess it's kind of fitting that he was the first one to get the win out of all these guys. I mean, I think he deserves it.
Yeah, because none of the 450 riders had won Daytona as of yet. So, I was a little bit torn, but what was I going to say? Cooper Webb, who I picked, got another second. So his last 5 results are 2-2, 1-1-2. And I was looking at average finishes. So Cooper Webb, in the last 5 races, his average finish is 1.6. But if you take the season average for all 3 of the top 3 guys, Webb's at a 2.87 average, right? Sexton's 3.5 and Kenny's 4.63. So pretty far off with that.
I think that DNF.
That 21st at Tampa killed him. So I decided, well, let's drop the worst round for each rider and see where it falls. And it actually moves Kenny into second average finish. That puts Webb at 2.14, Kenny at 2.2, and Sexton at 3.1. Yeah. So all 3 of those guys right there, it feels like they're going to consistently be our top 3. But championship-wise, just right now, we're almost halfway, Scotty. Are you leaning one way or another to any of these, to one of those 3?
I wouldn't want to be 10 points down of Cooper.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, by all means, like what should happen is Chase should stop having these. I don't even know half of it if it's his fault. It's just his unlucky stuff that's been happening to him. And I think that if it makes sense for him to win 4 or 5 in a row, like as long as he's not hurt or there's an ailing injury now after that crash, but like it would not be shocking, or it would make sense for him to win 3 or 4 in a row and be right back in it. Like it's all right there for him. Whether he does that or not, and do these mental calluses from these last 4 or 5 races start to get bigger and bigger and a problem, or is he really able to put it all behind him? Because it doesn't seem to be trending that way, and that's scary because I'm a Chase guy. I want to see Chase win, and I'm not hitting the panic button, but I do know where it's at.
That's kind of interesting. There's been talk about the issues we talked about. A lot of the other shows talked about the issues Chase has had. He's now 10 points down. More problems this weekend, right? With the crash, was catching up in the main event and then started dropping spots. Again, I don't think he's openly spoke about whether it was just the soreness or there was a bike problem or whatever, but yes, more often than not, he seems like he's the fastest guy on the track, TJ, but things happen. So do you think that he will win 2 or 3 in a row, or do you think it'll kind of keep going back and forth between these guys? Because there's a race, a weekend off coming up after Indy.
I think I was proven right last week when I said he's going to keep doing what he does. He's never changed, and I think he'll put a run together of some wins and then have an issue. I think it's just, and I don't think he's doing anything that's wrong. It's just how he rides on the edge. And when you ride on the edge, you get bit.
He doesn't ride on the edge, though.
I think he's riding on his edge. You don't crash like that as often as he does.
I think it's, so you know how we were talking about if like Cooper getting behind him, Cooper like gets behind Chase and can make Chase make mistakes. And then we made the point that Chase doesn't seem to do those mistakes in those situations. It seems to be when he has a 3 or 4 second lead. And it's like, to me, this championship was a bigger version of that same thing. When he had the points lead of a couple of, I think he had a 10-point lead at some point. When he had that, that's when this stuff started happening. So now that he's 10 points down, I mean, he was probably going to win Daytona if that if that heat race didn't go that way.
You can't go as fast as he's going and not be on the edge.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
does it remind you of Stu?
absolutely. Maybe Stu training him ruined him.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's talk about the track for just a minute, because every week I keep saying how much I enjoy these tracks, how great these tracks are.
Whoa. You were trying to trash Arlington or another one, and
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
said
Arlington.
no, and then I said that it was good that they're
No, Glendale I love.
no, it was Detroit, I think.
Yeah, I didn't like Detroit that much, but you kind of
Yeah.
changed my. But for overall, what I have
Okay.
said is
Great
Dirtworks
job.
has done a great job. Yes. Good job, Scotty.
I give my
Good
hugs.
job,
I love my
Scotty.
hugs.
By the way, we got another email from Jason Kiefer.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we'll get to that. But anyway, going back to Daytona, I thought this was one of the best Daytonas I've seen that I can remember in a long time. Last year was pretty good, but man, again, great racing. The first rhythm was freaking gnarly. It caught a bunch of people, so there may be a little bit of issues with having a rhythm like that so close to the start of the race. But there were some cool options. The split lane worked again. The sand section I liked with the split lane. I was really happy with this track, other than maybe that rhythm lane being so quick out of the gate, because it did catch some people. What did you guys think about the track build?
I thought it looked a lot like the older Daytonas that were still in the daytime, like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
Had that real just degraded track, big ruts, awkward, tight rhythm sections that you can't really like carry a lot of momentum and stuff to. And I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was different. I thought it looked more like old Daytona.
I actually really liked it, and I think that Ricky probably left there, with it on cloud nine, as many people said how great the track was. The only thing I didn't like, and it did wind up getting Kitchen, but that section where Kitchen got like yeeted over the bars, that was just a really weird section.
He just frame drug, right? Like that has to be what happened.
What it was is, like, well, you hadn't been at my house. They have this drop in into like this double, and the guys were most of the guys were checking a little bit and shoving the bike down in the pocket to get over it.
Okay.
And Kitchen was just running into it, putting his front
He
wheel.
was kind of wheeling into it.
Wheeling into it.
That's
Kicks.
sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and obviously it was a decision he made because nobody else was doing that. So
Yeah, well, and if you I rewatched the 450 race, and I kind of caught it the first time, but I really saw it the second time rewatching it. When AP, who we'll talk to in a little bit, was passing Jason, he kind of did a little.
AP did the same thing.
Had to stretch it out in the same section. That jump was.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a little sketchy for people all. But overall, though, I thought the track was
awesome.
really great. You, though, said it was kind of a boring race.
It was a boring race.
I totally disagree with that.
It was.
What do you mean?
I would
There was
play
like
Idiot
five
again.
guys. There was like five guys, like all in the same camera view of the race lead at one point.
But it was how do I say this? I never at one point thought that the lead was going to change. Now, I was getting there until Cooper messed up, you know what I mean, and made that mistake. It was about to get exciting. Other than that, it's I think.
Dude, AP and Jason Anderson going at it for a while, and Kenny and gapping Kenny. And
I think
Coop.
this year's racing has been really up there. And I think what I was trying to say is, compared to some of the stuff we've seen this year, it was all right. You know what I mean? Like,
MotoXpod@gmail.com is the email. If you got any comments or on anything, especially TJ's idiotic
well, hold on.
comments.
If Chase
Hang
would,
on. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, please. Go ahead and finish, TJ.
If Chase would have been able to do what Chase normally can do, is push his way up to the front, it would have got exciting.
Yeah.
But once Chase dropped anchor for whatever reason,
That was at the very end.
I really was like, it wasn't, but okay. There was like 6 or 7 minutes left when he started doing that, when he started going backwards.
Once again, Scotty, TJ just hates Supercross.
I love
Yeah,
Supercross.
yeah, he does. We know.
I've been to Daytona more times than y'all have. I've been to
That
Daytona
doesn't
more
mean
times
you
than
love it. You went because probably Doc was racing or something. You had.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's not the only reason. We made sure to go there, but I'm just saying, like, I've been to Daytona more than y'all have been to Supercross probably. So
Maybe.
No,
I don't know. Let's move on.
6 years in a row?
I've been to Arlington like 15 years in a row.
No.
This weekend coming up in Indy is also a showdown. So I want to ask you guys your thoughts on that, who you think might win. But it's also, as we mentioned last week, the St. Jude's race. So don't forget, you guys can go to supercrosslive.com/St-Jude, or you can text the word super to 785-833 to enter. There's raffles, all kinds of stuff going on. All the plastic and the gear from this upcoming weekend will be put up for auction after the race. You can also text the word Suzuki to 9926 for a chance to win Ken Roxon's race bike. So lots of stuff there for St. Jude's. Get involved with that. Again, Yamaha opening chat is what we're doing right now before we get to Aaron Plessinger. How about RJ getting his first win?
Awesome.
Also, like Kenny, clawing his way back into this title. He's 14 down on Anstey, who I still think probably wins the championship. But RJ's coming. There's some good racing. It was pretty, Anstey kind of put himself in a bad spot. He went down, right, in that first turn, clipped that circular tough block, had to come from the back. Another freaking red flag. Three red flags in 3 rounds of the East.
Is the East Coast guys going to know what to do if a race finishes like it's supposed to? Like, are they
or are the West Coast guys going to be prepared if there's a red flag this coming weekend?
Yeah.
They're going to be like, listen, guys, we don't race like that. Poor Levi.
And 2 of the last 2 ones have both been PC guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And McAdoo and Kitchen both out now for Pro Circuit.
I thought Mitch was going to roll himself into the track.
So
I'm talking about.
I know what you're trying to say,
but I'm just saying. Do you see his look on his face? They had the camera on him.
Yeah,
right
just happened to be on.
On that, so I know that we've kind of shrugged off the PC curse thing, and I kind of have too. After this weekend, where they're talking about Mitch, showing Mitch, and then Kitchen goes down in the bottom box, I don't know, man. It's starting to look like something's going on. Like how after all this stuff that's happened, they're showing Mitch while his last hope just endos and bike flies everywhere. Like it's
because it's all scripted.
Oh, it's like NFL?
Yeah, it's scripted.
So I do want to say Anstey may be proven that he can hold on to this title. I had suggested to him that ask him, like, are you going to be able to hold on to this?
Yeah, I don't know why you would say such a thing.
Because he hasn't been able to before, but he is now. I know I'm not the anvil. Things happen. It's motocross.
But it wasn't his fault.
Some of them were. I mean, okay.
The bike blowing up is what cost him the championship last year.
Because he had some other bad races.
But the bike blowing up was what really killed him.
But if he'd have won all the other races, the bike blowing up, I'm just saying,
you really are.
But
trying my patience right now.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. But all I'm getting at is he is definitely running a very solid season this year. Bike blowing up or not before or whatever. I'm just saying, he's pushed his way up to the front and didn't make any of the dumb mistakes that a lot of guys do. I'm yeah. Maybe.
You're like, yep.
Maybe.
You're like, yep.
I'm like, yep. I didn't get to finish. I was saying, I'm like, yep, maybe I was wrong that it was just the bike blowing up. So
I don't even know how to respond. Yeah, I got to just let that one go.
Okay.
It's just one of those hills that you, or as you would say, heels.
Yeah.
You said something when we were on the phone the other day, and it was a different word, and you said it the same way. Like keels, heels,
Oh
peels.
no, I'm from the South.
Oh no.
Let's quickly. I don't know if you guys have your fantasy points. Let's do just quickly do the Pro X fantasy recap. Let me do the read.
Yeah.
Pro X is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro, Yamaha, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, poor guys, and SLR Honda. They've been supplying quality components for almost 50 years, from complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets. Pro X aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. You can find Pro X at your local dealer or visit pro-x.com and search for parts for your bike. The chain and sprockets, the Pro X chain and sprockets on my KTM 350 got me in qualified for Loretta's Regional this weekend at Swan, thanks to Pro X and their awesome products. But Daytona, my team, I tried our theory. I had, I think, 11 riders.
12.
I had AP, Joey Savacci, Justin Hill, Mitchell Oldenburg, TJ Albright, Levi Kitchen, Austin Faulkner, Max Bolin, Daxton Bennett, Gage Linville, Michael Hicks, and Hardy Munoz. That's a lot of riders within that budget. Albright got me 0. Levi Kitchen got me 1. Faulkner got me 5. Linville 2. Hicks. So my scores still pretty much sucked, but I got 112 points for 127th place in the MotoXpod League of the Vital MX Fantasy game.
And how is that compared to your normal?
It's pretty average, actually.
Is
I think
it?
last week was my best with like 129 or something.
Yeah, I think I had
So
12
it didn't really
guys.
having more riders didn't really help.
Well, I had Plessinger, I had Barsha, Dylan, Nichols, Justin Hill, Jerry Robbins, which he barely Moran's, which I didn't realize Moran's. I guess he went out early. What happened with him? Because he got
don't
1
know.
point.
Yeah, I didn't see him. I don't know.
I don't know. And then
He
Colin,
wasn't on my team, so unfortunately, I guess I wasn't paying
Colin
attention.
and Mumford did pretty good, I would think. But anyways, yeah, I did terrible. I had 109 points, and
Cool, I beat you.
Yeah, you did. I was a 212th this.
Overall for the season, I have 901 points and 120th place. How'd you do, Scott? Did you play?
So I got an auto pick team because I thought that it was I had to put my team in by 6:30, but it was 6. And about 6:08, I went to go put my team in, and it was too late.
How many points you get?
62.
Yeah.
We beat Scotty.
So the
Way to go,
auto,
auto pick.
the auto pick gave me. Oh, they must have known we were having Mitch on the show tonight. They
You
gave me
got Oldenburg
Oldenburg.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him.
Gage Linville.
Yep.
Mookie, Seth, Dylan, Austin, Ryan Brees, and Freddie Norn was
Yeah,
the team.
I don't think Brees made it in. I don't think to the main. I'm
And
pretty
Freddie
sure he
got
didn't make.
22nd,
got
0
no
points.
points.
Yeah, Brees didn't make it in.
So the auto pick is not
I think
the
he went
answer.
down in the LCQ.
He was
I'm not
lined
mistaken.
up right next to what's his name in the LCQ.
What's his name?
Yeah,
that guy. I just watched it today. I remember seeing him, but yeah, next to what's his name. But he did. I think he fell. That's fine.
Well, no, I was just thinking.
Vital MX.
Go ahead.
If you guys want to play fantasy, sign up for the free league or the paid league, and join the MotoXpod Show League. Yes, the Vital MX game, MotoXpod Show
There's
League.
a
Line up right
QR
next Chase.
There's a QR code on
On the screen,
right
if you're
now.
watching.
Did you get like a promotion or something? Because your bike was on the ad that came on my
Yeah,
bike.
I actually got put in a group text. I don't know why I guess I don't know who chose to do that. If ML chose or Decal Works, but
Is that actually is that actually your bike or is that
no,
just your
I don't
number?
have the FMF. That was the rendering they sent me
Oh.
for my bike before they sent the graphics. That's what the graphics do look like, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't have the FMF exhaust or any of that. That was just a
okay.
rendering they did.
That's cool.
But I think actually, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Lewis put that up on Instagram today also. But yeah,
I was like, oh,
so
hey.
yeah, you can get the Dark Side kit if you want the half evil, as Mathis said.
It cracks me up. I have a trophy hanging up in my living room that has a little cartoon Dark Side number 3 on the trophy from that MotoMaster series.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Every time
I still have one.
Yeah,
Yep.
every time I see it, it cracks me up.
Yep. I have one of those too. That was kind of cool to be put on a plaque, I guess.
Sorry, I derailed the show.
No, you're good. We're all over the place in this opening segment, right? The Yamaha opening chat anyway. That's kind of what it's about. As I mentioned, I didn't tell you guys that we would talk about MXGP of Argentina. So we really won't get into it that much.
Hey, good, 'cause I didn't get
It's fine. The first round was this weekend in Argentina. I actually haven't been able to finish the whole thing yet because their website actually, when I was watching it, froze and it kind of kicked me off and I couldn't get back on. But Maxime Renault won the MXGP class. Kai de Wolf won MX2. And if you want to hear all the details, Lewis Phillips and Adam Wheeler are back with the MXGP podcast on Vital MX.
Amazing.
I have
show.
not got to listen yet, but it is definitely
Has it dropped
probably
already?
yeah, it's out today. Lewis, Lewis's favorite thing he does podcast wise. It's probably the best thing he does. He really enjoys it. Him and Adam have a great chemistry, very much like the Racer X review show with Mathis and Weege and JT. I feel like Adam and Lewis have a great connection.
Friends.
And and they do. There's a lot of laughter. It's not even always about the racing, which is kind of what we want out of our podcast, I think anyway. So check out the MXGP pod. It's up. I think they have a weekend off and they'll be back. But yeah, the MXGP season's kicked off. I know that Lewis was sort of like, hey, Geyser's going to run away with this thing. Nobody's going to beat him. And I can't wait to really hear what he says that Geyser.
How did Geyser finish?
I think he went 3-3 for third overall. Yeah.
Febvre looked good.
Yes, and so did Renault. So, it's hopefully Lewis is wrong, and there is actually a really good battle for that top spot this year with Prado being here. Hurlings is going to come in late. I don't know exactly when he's supposed to be back, but hopefully we get a really good MXGP battle, and I would like for Lewis to be wrong in this instance. I don't want Geyser just to run away with the thing. Before we get to AP here in just a few minutes, as I said, Indy coming up, first showdown of the year. There's 3 this year, which I did not realize until recently. Usually there's 2. What do you guys think we see, Scotty? Like, you have somebody that you think's going to dominate? Do you feel like it's condition wise it could go either any way? Like, who do you think is going to stand out? Who's going to kind of peak at for the showdown?
The first thing that keeps kind of tripping me out is that the West Coast guys have gone triple crown showdown.
Okay.
Like, it just seems like that's
hasn't
hard.
been a normal.
Yeah, I think that's going to be. It's been hard for Juju because in the first two normal races, he did really good, and then now it's kind of, I know the Glendale mistakes happened, and then he was hurt in Arlington, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I just thought it was interesting that that's been their schedule, and I guess if anybody is going to do good with that, it's Deegan, because the bigger the stage, the better he is, and so I think that I think it's, if he doesn't go out and win it, there's going to be a couple of question marks.
I disagree.
Not question marks, but
because I think at a showdown there's more factors, more variables. So I'd say it's more likely that he wouldn't win a showdown than he would a regular race.
No, I'm not saying likely. I'm just saying, like, I think that he needs to.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Most.
All right. TJ, any thoughts on? I want to ask you, I guess, is there anybody that maybe hasn't shown us their spotlight yet that could step up in the showdown? Anybody that stands out? Because I have a guy in mind, but do you think anybody benefits from the showdown?
Man, I think it's got to be somebody on the East Coast that's going to benefit just because the dirt and all that kind of stuff. But I can't imagine on top of my head. I'd love to see like Volan or somebody pull something out of the hat, because I think if he gets up front and gets out, those guys aren't going to kill themselves to pass him, because you know what I mean? I would love to see somebody along those lines get out there and do something.
How many West Coast guys finish in the top 10? Over or under 3?
West Coast top 10.
I mean,
I'd say over.
No. Out of like, how many guys out of the West Coast
finish in the top 10?
Finish in the top 10.
I got
you. All right, you said it weird.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to say over 3, because I think
4. Shimoda.
I think Deegan, Davies, Juju, probably Shimoda. So that's over.
Okay, then over under 4.
Yeah. Scroll that up. I want to see who else is on
there. Do you want me to put it on the?
No, just scroll it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4. I don't know.
The guys on the guy. Keep going. Like
that's
down. Never mind.
Oh.
Yeah,
How is down? It's up to the
Jordan
top of the page.
Smith is.
Yeah.
Jordan's not going to be there.
He's not going to be there. So
I'm going to say 4.
Yeah.
But I do think the question I asked you, TJ, I think Joe Shimoda could maybe he, like, I don't have him even on my podium when we get to picks, but if he came out and won, I'd be like, okay.
That's kind of Joe though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like A1. The A1 is exactly that. Like, nope, we didn't pick him. Weren't really talking about him because
he also had the finger issue, right?
Well, but I'm talking about before that.
Yeah.
We were like, Joe never starts off the season strong, and then he came and win it, and we were like, oh yeah, he can do that.
Well, that's what I wasn't thinking of, somebody who was I was thinking of more.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody that you hasn't spotlight, like hasn't peaked yet. But he,
Hymus.
Okay, so that's another guy. We haven't had Joe Shimoda or Hymus as a guy.
I really don't understand how he's only 13 points back, because I feel like I haven't really seen him at all.
I would say I consider,
and
Hymus
he's just there somehow.
Yeah,
I consider
that's the thing.
him
He's just kind of quietly,
just kind of
lingering.
Yeah,
pulling a web.
Actually, you know who's been quietly lingering like that would be Tom. Like yeah. Like,
but because that's kind of his.
Yeah,
we all knew that was what he was going to do.
I just feel like he's just kind of been quietly just doing his thing.
I don't think it's been that quiet. I think it's been pretty talked about, that he's kind of just hanging right there like he always does.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, he's not up front in the battles and doing anything crazy. He's just
but he is up front in this point stand. He's only 6 back.
6 back. Max better hold on.
Yeah, I started to pull it up real quick.
Damn it, TJ. Okay, we need to move on. You got
so
TJ.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, Joe's been he's had some bad races.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's
not bad, but just not what we would expect.
Got a broken finger.
Yeah, but I would not be completely surprised if he if he came out and won the thing. I think so. That's what about you? Does somebody, you said Hymus for you?
Yeah, okay. Like that hasn't shined yet. It was the question, right?
Yeah, like is there somebody like that just could stand up?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if Hymas podiums this weekend. He's been trajectory going up. He's in this points fight. I think he's getting. I mean, you would know more than me. I think he's getting healthier.
Yeah.
So
I'm in the process of trying to get AP on the phone.
Yep,
but
I see you.
Okay, so while we wait, let's see. He may be on the line. Let's see if he's there. AP, you there? Hello. Got nothing.
You're a failure.
You got. Let's talk real quick because I don't have any audio. I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on. The Daniel Blair thing. Do you guys want to touch on that just real fast? While I try to get back on.
It's up to you.
Yeah, just briefly kind of give your thoughts on it. Let me try to get him back.
I want to say that it came out and it was like one of those things. I was surprised that it was surprising. Does that make sense, Scotty?
No, you were. What do you mean?
Hey, we got our first guest on. So let me do the read real quick. Yeah, I'll tell you guys what I did wrong in a minute. But Racetech is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company. They have over 35 years of experience providing factory-level suspension to the everyday rider. For nearly 40 years, Racetech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high-quality suspension components made right here in the USA. From modern to vintage, Racetech is your go-to source for suspension performance. Visit racetech.com. You can find your local service center. Get to know your local tech. He's probably at the local track with you. They can do anything you need with your suspension. Tonight, Racetech brings us Mr. Aaron Plessinger from the Red Bull KTM factory racing team. What's up, AP?
Hey, not too much, Jamie. How are you guys doing?
We're hanging in, having a few technical issues, but mostly it's all my fault. Yeah, I had you on the wrong channel when I tried calling you, so sorry about that. But
hey, no worries.
Hey, man, good job. Congrats on the podium at Daytona. I know how big of a deal that was for you, especially with the season has not gone the way you want, and most of the things have been out of your control. So I feel like turning it around, getting that podium, man, the mental state has to be a lot higher.
Yeah, for sure. First off, thank you. And yeah, man, with the way things have been going the past few weeks, since the start of the season, really, that one felt really, really good. And to lead a couple laps and then go back to fourth and then come back and get back up on the podium. Yeah, it was awesome. It just felt good. It felt like a good day, and yeah, I guess it was a great day to have a great day.
Yeah, for sure. Let me ask you this: so the first few races, you were sick. I think San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. You ran into Dylan Ferrandis on one and damaged front brake, if I'm not mistaken. So some of these things, you've had a couple crashes that have resulted in the poor results or the DNFs. But do you feel like you had been riding well minus those issues, and comparatively to how you rode at Daytona? Because at Daytona, you were amazing. You looked fantastic. But do you feel like you've been riding good all year, just had these weird things happening?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, during the week, it's like, me, Malcolm, and Justin were literally banging bars the week before Tampa. And in Tampa, I just, rode really, really tight and got a bad start. And yeah. And then, yeah, like you said, ran into Dylan. I broke my throttle cable then. So
okay, yep. Night
was finished. And then San Diego, I smashed my face after the triple quad.
Yes.
Yeah. So I tried to turn left as soon as I landed the quad and went face first into the dirt, and that ended my night. And then, yeah, like I just couldn't seem to catch a break. And this weekend, I was just feeling really, really good. And the boys made some really good suspension changes to the bike and went out the heat race and got a pretty good start. And then, yeah, just pushed through. And once I got a taste of the speed right behind Anderson, I knew I could do it. I knew I could get up there and battle with these guys. So that gave me even more confidence in my starts. And then after that, so in the main, I was right behind Anderson again, and I was like, all right, well, here's the heat race again. So made the pass and just kind of tried to ride, relaxed and not so pent up and bound up. So that's pretty much what I did. And then those guys, I mean, Coop and Kenny were on another level. And then, Chase got by me and then I picked up a few lines that I got from Chase and Coop and Kenny and put on a late moto charge to hold off the number 32.
Okay, so and that was I saw that. I rewatched it today, and I was kind of watching you change lines and stuff. So you said a couple different things in your description there that I want to touch on. First of all, a couple suspension changes that made a big difference. Is that as simple as clickers, or are you like, what are those type of changes that happen during the race day that make that big of a difference?
No, so I have been struggling with bike setup a little bit throughout the year, just kind of not knowing what I want, and most of it's kind of confidence. Mm-hmm. And I think we made the forks like internally softer.
Okay, so that you're doing internal changes on race day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't a clicker change. So the boys had an idea of what they wanted to do, but I wasn't sure if I wanted them to do it just yet. And then after practice, I just said, do it. Like, go ahead and do it. Like, show me the way, pretty much. And they did it, and it worked out.
That's kind of ballsy. Really, that's kind of ballsy on race day, because you don't really know how it's going to work out.
Yeah, and that's where I put my trust in them. And they've been doing it far longer than I have, and they know what to do. And you got to have trust in your team. That's what makes a great team from a good team. Really, really really, really good guys working on your bike for you. So that's where I put my trust in them, and I give them credit for it.
Nice.
Hey, one of our live listeners, Elijah, basically, for summing it up, basically was asking, did you know you had to put it on the box, wearing pink? So,
Well, I always say, I think I wore my mom got me a shirt back in like third or fourth grade that said, real men wear pink. Yeah. And it was a pink shirt. So that's when I say real men wear pink. That's what I mean. Yeah. Real men step up,
That Thor gear actually looked pretty good. It wasn't bad, man. I'll give it to you.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Going back to a couple of things you said, though, you talked about watching Kenny and those guys and picking up on some lines. Again, I don't want to take it to me, so I raced this weekend, and my buddy's like, hey, you need to try this line and this line and this line. And I can't do that in the middle of the race. I have my line and I'm zoned in. So kind of like switching suspension in the middle of the day, changing lines in the middle of a race, that's also at times that's questionable, right? You don't know what that line is actually like. So you just kind of, again, have to trust that what you're seeing from the other racers is working. But do you question that? Like, oh, should I?
Yeah, it's funny because, I know in my mind, I knew that their lines were better because obviously Kenny was like hounding me through the whoops. And I knew that. And, I wish I would have picked up on that line a little bit earlier, but I had to see him to do it. Yeah. And, all I had to do was move, 2 feet to the right in the whoops. So, it is a gamble in the race, and I've countless times picked a wrong line, like moved away from my regular line and picked the wrong line in the race, and that ultimately cost me either a win or a podium. So, that's where, once again, that's where the good separate from the great is, the great guys can tell when a line is good. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Jet and Eli do it tremendously. They just move around the track, and Coop do it tremendously. They just move around the track and find lines that work, and they're doing it the whole entire race when we're on a track like Daytona that changes every single lap pretty much. And one of the lines was you guys know where Coop stalled the bike?
Yeah.
Like right in front of me?
Yeah.
So after that double, there was a line that actually Coop tried to use it when he was right behind Kenny, but he got cross-rutted. So you take that inside rut and you almost have to like jump out of that rut onto pretty much a flat surface. And that was way better than the line that I was taking. I was just staying in the rut, and that rut was getting to be about a foot deep. So you couldn't really get over that next jump without like really humming it. So that was just one of them. The whoops was another. Kenny had a freaking awesome line after the sand, when he tripled into that corner, railed the outside, and then tripled off of that thing. That was insane. Yeah.
That was pretty. You're not, yeah. That was real. I actually made comment. I kind of went, oh shit, out loud when I was watching it live. Yeah. That was very impressive. The last thing I want to touch on that from your opening statement was just riding more relaxed. I could see that. I felt like, you got a lot more TV time, obviously, in Daytona than you have been getting, but watching you, the way you were moving around the bike and like jumping over that tunnel jump and just the way your body position was, it did seem like you knew that you were on it that night. Like you could tell it, you could feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I've been, the last couple of weeks I've been, ridiculed about like riding tight and like trying to force the bike to go places that, I want to go, but ultimately, you got to flow too. So in that sense, when I'm forcing the bike, I'm not flowing, and it's making me ride tight. It's making my arms tighten up. And whenever, you ride loose and just flow with it, let the bike and the track come to you, it's so much less taxing on your body. And that's pretty much what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to, force the bike anywhere. I was just letting it, move under me. I was letting the corners come to me. And then, I was just kind of I don't know. I don't want to say I was out there for a Sunday cruise, but I was trying to feel like I was out there for a Sunday cruise, just because when you do that, you get in such a flow and you can do stuff that you normally don't get to do.
Sure.
Yeah, AP, man, it was so good to see you on the podium this weekend, and I've been waiting for it and to finally see it, man. Your fan favorite and people's champ. We were glad to have you back, and the ruts, suit you. A track like that is good for you. I just want you to know that when we're watching a track like a race like Daytona and see those ruts, like I can't comprehend how you guys go that fast and that stuff. So just kudos all around, man. Just what is it like lap in, lap out, just taking those ruts and having to go through a track like Daytona?
Yeah, man, like in the moment you don't really think about it, but now that the race is over, I've had time to, rewatch the race and look at that stuff, and man, it feels so good. It's so much fun when you're riding a track like Daytona, because not everybody is good at Daytona. There's a certain few that are exceptionally well at Daytona, and I just like that outdoor feel and that those ruts and how it gets rough, and it's just it's just a gnarly man's track, and yeah, it's crazy, but it feels so good when you get a flow there and you find the right lines and you're hitting the sections good, and it's just a really, really good feeling, because I've watched Daytona Supercross since I was 10 years old, and the gnarliest of the gnarliest dudes have won or got on the podium there, and it just feels really, really good when you kind of succeed at a Supercross track like that.
Yeah, man. The older I'm getting now, like the more I see stuff like that, and it's just nope, I'm out. I'll just sit at the trailer.
You talked about going back to watch the races, and I've talked to racers, and I mean all of us. Panic things happen, and then you forget about it. You had a kind of almost an incident, the same place that Kitchen went down. when you went back and watched that, did you remember that happening before, or was it as scary as it looked to us?
Like when he was passing Jason, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember exactly what you're talking about, but in that moment, it doesn't really feel that sketchy to say. But yeah, I mean, once you go back and look, you're like, wow, that could have been really bad. That could have been like night ending for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, in the moment, you're not really thinking about it, but I mean, all you're thinking about is who do I need to pass next? And that was a really good pass. Was that in the heat race or
that was the main
event?
The main.
Okay. Yeah. That was the main event. So in that sense, I was just like, get out front, go, go, go.
Yeah.
And, you don't really think about that stuff. Like you've probably asked riders before if they remember, either a pass or an incident that happened on the track. And they're probably like, I don't know. It's just, sometimes you get in that state and you're just like, you're just in the zone.
Yeah.
And once you get out of it, you almost forget everything that has happened in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back and watch.
Well, that's like every day of my life. I forget what happened 20 minutes ago.
But seriously,
old age.
I don't know how y'all would go back and watch that and be like, yeah, I almost died, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Well, when you land on two wheels, it's a little bit easier to come back and watch it.
Well, another incident that I caught was in the heat race with Malcolm right before the finish. I think you cased that big double. How'd that feel?
Yeah. Dude, well, so I was hitting it on, I think, the right-hand side in the heat race. And on the right and the left, it was smooth. You could do that. But in the middle, there was it was more of a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I guess from people just hitting the brakes and letting off right at the wall. But I hit that middle line the last lap of the heat race, and dude, I thought I was going for a ride.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky that the bike just didn't keep going. But yeah, it just threw you a different way. And I even came back and I told Tom that, do not hit that in the middle. Like if you're going to double it right or left. Like do not hit it in the middle because I almost ended it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. There was, I remember kind of making a little sound at that too. I was like, oh, yeah. So yeah, that track was,
and I cased it too.
Yeah.
And exactly. I cased it at that. So I was like completely level to where you want to be when you're landing something like that. You want to be rear wheel down
for
at all times.
Before we hop off,
I cased it
and
it stopped.
Yeah, I did. I know. Yeah.
Before we hop off the subject, one of our listeners had another question. Austin Justin asked if you is it hard to block out when you see a situation happen right before you, like 10 minutes before you go out, you have to, or
talking about like Levi?
Yeah, like Levi situation or anything like that, or is it just kind of you just move on and just block it out?
Yeah, I mean, you got to move on and block it out, or else you're going to be thinking about it the whole night. Like in a situation like that, with that kind of jump, it's almost like, I watched it back and it was almost like Levi wheel tapped the second jump and his front wheel almost completely missed the top of that jump. So in that sense, it's almost like, all right, my front wheel has to hit that thing. Like it has to, no matter what. And that's pretty much what I told myself. And they actually fixed that jump, not fixed it, but refaced it so the ruts weren't there before we started our race.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't too much on my mind, and the right side was laid down a lot more than the left. So when I was making that pass on Jason, I actually thought about it, and I was like, dude, put your front wheel into this thing. Put your front wheel into this thing. And I almost moved too far forward, which you guys were talking about. And
you were stressed out. Yeah.
Adrenaline's a hell of a drug.
Sure.
Yes, sir, it is.
Aaron Plessinger is brought to you tonight by Racetech, racetech.com. Again, find your local service center. They can help you out. If you want to get your suspension serviced or revalved, they'll get you taken care of. Again, man, my KTM 350 with the Racetech spring conversion kit got me qualified to regionals this weekend.
Yeah, that
going
people,
to regionals.
People thought that you were AP. Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
AP.
Yeah.
So the track.
Dude, we're about the same height.
Yeah.
We're about the same height.
I raced at Swan here in East Texas, man. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I was going to say that if you didn't cut the hair, I think people would believe it.
Yeah, I rode a very rutted track this weekend.
He's also living out one very big thing too, AP.
What's that?
What did a certain guy named Jeff Emig do to you?
Well, I passed him in the first turn.
Okay, how did the race end?
It ended with him lapping me, but hey, but look, I was like, I slowed down so much on the last lap, hoping he would lap me so I didn't have to do another lap. Yeah, I was like, come on, Jeff. Come on, Fro. But anyway, all right, let's get back to you. Your mental state. I want to know where it was at in the beginning weeks. We kind of already talked about your first few rounds and all that, but was the mental side a struggle, and has your confidence completely flopped after this week? Does it turn everything around for you? Where are you at mentally, I guess, is the easiest way to ask that question.
No, where I'm at now is really different than when, those 22nd place finishes were not too far behind me. I was struggling at first, man. Okay. It was like, I was to the point where I was like, am I doing the right thing here? Like, what do I need to change to do this and do that? Like, it was a tough couple of weeks, but now, like now, with those starts, I think really what helped me was the starts in Detroit. The starts were on point. I got the whole shot in the heat race and in the main, and that kind of really turned things around for me to where I was like, all right, dude, if I can get up here and run with these guys, at least in the first couple laps, like something's going to stick. Mm-hmm. And, that's pretty much what I did in Daytona. I got up and I was leading the race, and then, I didn't even see the halfway point. Like, I didn't even see the dude put out the stick for halfway. So, I was just running up there with those guys, not really caring what or how much time we had left. And then, all of a sudden there's a white flag, and I'm like, all right, this is going to stick now. I just gotta hold off another 32 and I'm good. So, no, I think the starts in Detroit were what kind of changed a little bit in my mindset. And then, I think it was last weekend at Arlington, I got up I think I was in the lead for a second or two. Mm-hmm. And then, in the last main, I was trying to convince myself that wasn't it, but yeah, I got up in the lead for 3 corners and beefed it into the hay bales. But I was just like, okay, you got the starts now. Now let's finish it. Like, now let's stay up there. And that finish this weekend helped my confidence extremely.
Dude, glad to hear it. Yeah, I could kind of see it in the press conference, and even, you getting to do the burnout. I knew, like, you were stoked on that. So, I felt like I could see the demeanor changing a little bit. So that's good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's definitely been a ride, but we're back. We're back now. Good. We're going to keep it back, and the starts aren't going to change. So I'm going to be up front more, and you're going to see that beautiful Thor gear up front, and we're going to get a few more podiums. We're going to end this season strong.
I love it. Just a couple more for you.
Yeah, AP. I know that you and Chase are close. Y'all aren't like best friends, but I know y'all get along pretty well.
How do you know they're not best friends?
I mean, are you and Chase best friends, AP?
Pretty close. Pretty close. That's kind of, if we lived a little bit closer together, I think we would be.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. So what I was getting at is that, these last couple rounds haven't gone ideal for him. I know that y'all are working real hard together to get the bike to where it needs to be. At this point, now that we're ready to gear up for these podiums and get back on the track that you should be on, is any part of your mindset to kind of be there to help him get in between some championship points kind of things? Is that anything that you think about at all, or is KTM talking to you about maybe any kind of team tactics or anything, or is it you just taking it one race at a time?
Right now I'm just taking it one race at a time and just trying to get up there where I belong. And, I think it might be a little early to start thinking about that, the championship thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think that was round 8, I believe. And, then we have, I'm showing my math skills here. I think we have
9 to go.
Like 9 left. Yeah. So there's 9 left. And, ultimately, if he does what he knows how to do, or, if he rides like he did in any race. I mean, if he rides like he did coming back from that start crash at Detroit, then, I mean, he can beat anybody. So if he does what he knows how to do, he's up there for sure. So, I don't think they're too worried about it right now. Say 4 rounds to go or 3 rounds to go. I think that may be a possibility, but the team, I think they equally want us to do really well.
Yep.
So as for right now, they're just telling me to do what you know how to do. Go out there and rip and get as many podiums as you can, and just ride like you know how to, and let's finish this season strong and go into outdoors with that momentum.
I like that. Let it happen kind of naturally.
Speaking of outdoors, there is a weekend coming up, which I'm sure all the 450 guys are ready for. Will that give you some time? Will you start doing some outdoor testing, or have you already, or what is your plan for that off week?
So the off week, I haven't done any outdoor testing yet. I actually did some Supercross testing yesterday, and that went really well. I mean, we might start getting into outdoor testing. I know as we get towards the closing races of the season, Supercross season, we tend to start riding outdoors on Mondays and just getting that outdoor feel, and do a little bit of testing if we needed to. But as for right now, coming off of what I did last year in the outdoors, I don't think that I'll need too much testing, hopefully,
right,
to get my outdoor setup right.
Do you feel like your testing skills or your testing abilities have come a little ways? Because I know maybe 2 years ago, you told Mathis that you were not very good at it.
Well, I mean, I still have my thoughts on how I test, but it's making me feel a little bit better, because every time I come back and I just talk about what the bike's doing, these guys like Carlos and Rayo go back and they make changes, and they come out and they're like, yeah, your comments last time were really good, and they explained a route for us to go, a direction for us to go. So I'm learning that I just need to come off and talk about what the bike's doing, and just tell them, and not try to insert my awesome testing knowledge to them. So all I need to do is come off and just blabber a bit, and they go back, they make they make changes, and so
all right,
that's pretty much that.
That's good. So 2 more things I want to get to real quick. I was going through your Instagram, and I want to give you a chance if you want. I saw you have a buddy, Jesse Walters, that was diagnosed with cancer. If you want to kind of talk about that a little bit, and I know he has a GoFundMe if people want to help out.
Yeah, for sure. So me and Jesse, we got together. Shoot, I've known Jesse since I was probably about 6 years old. And we've been traveling to races and amateurs. And, you know, when I went pro, we were still riding together. And then, so I've known him throughout my whole life, pretty much. And, he just got diagnosed with cancer, and it's not so good. But yeah, hopefully, you know, we hear some promising news in the next few months, and he's going to go through the whole thing, and you know, Jesse's a fighter, so I know that he'll fight this thing through. But yeah, he definitely has a GoFundMe if anybody is you know, willing to spare a buck or two. But
Sure.
But yeah, man, Jesse's an awesome dude. He, you know, we, like I said, we went to races, me, him, and his dad, just us three a couple times. So yeah, it's a pretty crappy deal, but you know, it is what it is, and we gotta help him out as much as I can, you know?
Yeah, of course. I saw, so if you guys are listening, just check out AP's Instagram. There's one of his, not stories, but his main post. I think his Instagram is there, and you can find the GoFundMe. But yeah, if you guys can help out. But what did you have, TJ?
I was just going to say, my mom's going through cancer right now, and it's just such an up and down thing.
Yeah.
You have some weeks where you're like, oh, it looks terrible, and then all of a sudden things turn for the good. So yeah, just like you said, just anybody going through that.
Yeah,
we all definitely understand.
All right, let's close this out. I'm going to put you on the spot. This weekend in Indy is the first showdown of the year for the 250s. Give me your winner of the 250s.
Dude, I think that if RJ rides like he rode this weekend, I'm picking the boy. I'm picking RJ. I think that that confidence is going to do him a lot of good, and RJ is going to be RJ, and he's going to send it no matter what or
yes,
who is in his face. And yeah, I think I'm gonna go the number 24.
All right, I like it. We're going to hold you to it. So, hey, AP, thank you for coming on. You know, I talked to you at Arlington, and I haven't really asked you to come on the show in a little bit because I feel like I've asked you too much. And you're like, no, man, anytime. I love doing it. So thank you. I appreciate it. We always enjoy talking to you.
Well, hey, thanks for having me. And like I said, if you ever need anybody, I'm open. I'm willing. And yeah, it was awesome talking to you boys tonight. I appreciate it. And boys, have a good night.
You too. Get it on the box again this weekend, man. I won't be there, but we'll be. Actually, I won't even get to watch this one live. I'm going to be at Monster Jam with the grandkid. So I'll watch Sunday morning, but good luck.
Hey, thank you, brother. I really appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
That's Aaron Plessinger tonight, brought to you by Race Tech.
How he ends the deal with, well, you have fun racing. I'm not going to watch it, but you have
Well,
fun.
I'll watch the next day. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
What's going to be funny is that Darkside's probably going to see 10 to 12 people that look just like AP at Monster Truck.
The Monster Jam.
Yeah, the Monster
pretty
Jam.
much.
Yeah, so you guys made a comment a minute ago, and I can't help but acknowledge when there's issues on the show. I just can't, right? So what I did with the show is recently I got away from using the Bluetooth for the phone and hardwiring it, and I had it on the wrong setting.
Oh, I got
so I screwed up. So it's on me. But yeah, that stuff, whatever.
Oh, I thought I thought we were talking about how you always start off an interview negatively.
I don't think I did. I said you had a great ride, and
yeah, no, you didn't.
It was like half. It was like half and half, like Arnold Palmer.
I mean, we didn't ask him if he was going to block for his teammates, so.
Yeah, I didn't ask him that.
Kind of did.
I kind of was.
What do you think they're going to say when you ask about team tactics?
You still ask. Like, it's like the press
we're not
conference.
Even halfway through the season yet.
I didn't really want to say team tactics. What I really wanted to say is, hey, AP, Chase kind of needs your help, bud. Like, that's kind of
Acting like an idiot.
That's kind of where I was getting at.
What did I do?
An idiot.
He did.
Yeah.
It's not for Scotty.
It's not for me.
I wanted to say more of like, Chase needs your help, but like that's kind
Chase
of
doesn't need it. Chase is fine. Chase is fine.
I like I said, I haven't pulled the
RJ's
the
going to
panic button out
RJ
yet.
and Chase is going to Chase.
Could have asked Eli last week, hey, when you come back, are you going to block for Cooper if he needs?
I did ask him if he was helping the younger guys at Star, and that didn't go anywhere.
Well, he doesn't rarely rides there, and he's like,
Yeah.
he stays in his motorhome.
I
Yeah.
actually liked the question because the answer was like, no, I just stayed to myself. Like, I just thought that was like,
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so we got Mitchell Oldenburg coming up. Let's do the X-Brand forum check-in. X-Brand
That's what happens when I get censored. That question's come up.
X-Brand is your choice for clear vision and a leader in motocross and off-road goggles. X-Brand is used by many of the top GNCC riders, including 2023 XC1 champion Craig DeLong, Kyle Chisholm, Grant Baylor, Lynn Snodgrass, Michael Hicks, Henry Miller, Freddie Noren. Visit eksbrand.com or go to your local dealer. And again, man, just keep watching those Star guys when they win. That's those Alpine Star goggles. They are a X-Brand goggle. Just going to straight up say it. So they're good goggles, trusted by some of the best riders in the business.
I still think there should be like a little bitty X on it somewhere.
Well, they don't
Don't
pay that kind of money to X-Brand, so that's they pay for the
Wait a minute.
exclusivity.
the X brands have the logo molded in the.
Different lens. The lens has a different thing. It's got I think it's got the A-Star. I've got that. Remember that set that I had to sing here?
Yeah.
It's got the A-Star.
Have to look at
logo.
it.
Yeah. Okay. X-Brand forum check-in. Let me open this up. But it's titled "Bringing Back the Sunday Futures Races." Remember those?
They're on Saturday night.
Nope.
No, but it was
That's not what
actually
I'm talking about. It's talking about when we could race.
Yeah.
In the stadiums.
Oh,
on
the
Sunday.
amateur
Remember?
day. The amateur day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was what Futures was to begin with.
And that's
remember?
what it should still be.
Okay, I know this isn't what we're talking about, but that bothers me. If there's a 50+ class, that's not a future.
Well, okay, fair
Well,
enough.
just-
Well, fair enough. But it was just called. They did the futures on set.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Okay, call it amateur day. But anyways, moving on. That's not part of what we're talking about.
As the title says, this is posted by MotoMind00132. As the title says, do we see them bringing back Supercross Future races? Those were fun, and would 10 out of 10 do them again if they came back? It's always fun getting on a real Supercross track in a stadium. No, they're not coming back, but I want to pose the question to us as a group. If they did, would you guys want to do it? Because at the time, I was out. I wasn't riding much, didn't want anything to do with it. Now, I might go line up.
So we had to do futures, or Doc had to do futures through that program before they started racing during the day. They did it on Sunday when he did his stuff. Bro, like it was nothing but just people getting carded out of there.
Yeah.
There's no chance I want any part of that.
Okay.
You know that song where it's like my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes? It's the opposite.
Yes, okay. I was like, that doesn't, yes.
Yeah. But yeah. My mind's telling me yes. My body's like, nah, don't
so
do
the
it.
thing was, I wouldn't mind riding those tracks. They were tamed down. They did them pretty nice. But it's like you get in there, you got one day, you ride, and then you don't have any time to learn. There's nothing else like that you're going to ride.
No.
And I think that's why people were carded.
And a lot of people go out there thinking, oh, I can do that. Most guys like us are like, oh, I can do it. It's very much like the Matt Burkeen, his Instagram with all the arena cross crashes. Like, it's just a bunch of average riders thinking they're Chase Sexton or Cooper Webb. Like, oh, I can do it too.
Well, I would say
I've never thought that. I do not ride like that. I've never thought that I can do anything that those guys can.
they say like to your own self be true kind of thing. I know if I had not been there and watched for multiple years when doing the future stuff, people getting carded out, I would be like, yeah, I'll do it. But after being there for multiple years watching it, no thank you.
I was always glad that I wasn't racing,
Yeah.
especially when I was seeing some of the guys we race with
Getting
try to
weeded.
do it, and some guys that are better than me try to do it and still like almost dying.
Yeah.
But now I do think I would try it at least one time. Like if they were to do it in Arlington next year, I think I would try it just to say I did it again and try to be smart about it.
Yeah.
And not do anything too stupid. But then again, I'm like, oh, I think I can make that jump. But
Yeah,
I would do it. I would.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad they don't do it because it was kind of a pain in the ass to say the extra day and like if I was trying to cover it or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely not coming back. But I'm curious if our listeners would want to do it. MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. You guys can also contribute to the Evans Coolant emails, the T-Boat USA Top 5 coming up or in the coming weeks, the FXR picks. So hit us up on our email. Like and subscribe if you're watching YouTube. Go to VitalMX.com and join the fantasy game, VitalMX Fantasy, and hit us up in the MotoXpod League, all that good stuff. You guys want to do Evans Coolant emails?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Is there good stuff going on in chat? I see the laughter.
It's always good stuff.
Oh, they went off the rails. As soon as all you did was say the word Daniel Blair, and it's been off the rails ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. I don't have a lot to say on it, and some people are going to say, well, it's because I'm buddies with Daniel. It's just, I only have his side of the story. And I love DB, but I know, because I'm not totally stupid, that there's two sides to every story. The truth is in the middle somewhere. I feel for Daniel because I know emotionally, like, he's hurt by all this. Like, he's a very passionate guy, and I feel bad for him. But we can talk about it a little bit at the end if we still have time. But, we'll try to get to it. Let's get to these emails real quick.
Hashtag short show.
Yeah, I don't hear...
I just looked. The wind's still up. I heard it banging.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe my headphones. Like, I'm thinking, is my roof still there? And Oldenburg, Mitchell and I were texting because his fence got knocked down. He said,
his too?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, so did mine. My fence is down. My roof's off. Because I actually, this whole show's been a shit show, but I'll just be honest. I texted him before AP, and I was like, hey, calling you in 15. And he's like, okay. And I was like, oh shit, that was supposed to be AP. Like, I got him backwards.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'm just discombobulated because my fucking house is falling apart.
I mean, why would this week be any different?
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Normal.
Like, I'm normally a mess, and this is a shit show. And on top of that, my house is blowing away. So so
if you see us just do a 360 in the camera,
our normal listeners know this is what you're going to get out of me. And the new listeners, hey, this is what you're going to get out of me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a mess.
Exactly.
B minus journalism.
Yeah.
We know.
B minus. Dude, I'm stoked on a B minus.
Hey,
I am not
B's get degrees.
failing.
That's right.
All right, Kevin Holderman. Let's see if that's. It doesn't show the whole name. I think it says Kevin Holderman. Check out. Oh, this is actually a different one. This is for the picks. He's telling me to check out a band. So I'll give him a shout out. He says check out Old 60 Band, local guys here in Kentucky. I'll do that. This is the one I meant to read. Redbud Beaver says, "Hey Dark, love the Pony Pod is blowing up, bro. It's not the Pony Pod. It's MotoXpod.
It's the Pony Pod."
I think they need to keep, this is about track obstacles that we talked about last week. I think they need to keep the quads and obstacles that keep things interesting. I get they want to keep the stars safe, but I think they do them knowing the risk. I think they do the track, they race knowing the risk. Yeah. Now to growing the sport, think about what social posts get the most views and shares. It's the crazy combos, the obstacles, or quads. Keep up the good work. Keep being genuine and caring about the fans. I got you, Redbud Beaver. So, I think we all agree, right?
Yeah,
it's enough. I didn't really pay attention. There weren't real Supercross whoops. They were pretty gnarly though at Daytona, but that's a different situation. Remember no obstacles before whoops.
I think if they never would have come out and said it,
would have noticed.
We never would have noticed. That's what I'm saying. It's not.
You might be right.
And
I think that I wouldn't say that every track has been like perfect, but I don't think that they've missed.
That's right.
This year. Yeah. And I think the last couple years, if I'm being honest, they missed more than not.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So I'm happy with it. I know there's been a couple of complaints about little tit for tat things with the whoops, the 10 whoops and the Dragon's backs, but their Dirtworks is doing an amazing job. Let's just be grateful for that and just enjoy the fact that we're having very interesting lines and tactical racing.
Okay, fair enough. Shane Bagley, this is the one that's titled TJ's an Idiot.
Yes, all right.
The discussion on going to Supercross. TJ needs to understand the old adage, different strokes for different folks. Scotty wants to make a memory and we'll get to his fuel pump later. TJ prioritizes the fuel pump. Nobody is wrong. There is somebody wrong. It's a personal decision.
Yeah, TJ.
As for me, I can't get enough live racing to make those memories. Hit Detroit, got Indy next week, and Philly in April. You're right, Shane Bagley, and TJ's wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe that there's different strokes for different folks. I'm totally with that. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that his decision's right. His decision's wrong. But if he wants to be wrong, that's fine. That's
not wrong. Sometimes you have to pick between two things. He picked what was more important to him at the time.
Yeah, and that was the wrong decision. Because this weekend he's having to
borrow. He wants to borrow your bike. You should tell him, no, you cannot borrow my bike because you could have fixed yours.
I should tell him when we get to the track.
That'd be mean.
Tell him.
Well, okay.
He ride by Solaria.
An average of 45,000 fans per Supercross over 17 rounds. 765,000 people disagree with TJ.
No, those people may be able to afford it. You can't.
Nobody can afford anything.
All right, we got to do one more. We got to get to Mitch Oldenburg.
Okay.
Jason Kiefer is back.
Yeah.
I did not pre-read this. So
Probably should have, but it's okay.
Probably should have.
No.
What's up, Dark? So after I heard you read my email on the show, I was excited, then bummed. I did reread this. Excited, then bummed. Didn't mean it to sound so harsh on Scotty. So if you guys weren't listening last week,
read this.
he told Scotty that he sucked, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much.
I sent him a DM on Instagram, but don't think he saw it yet. Can you let him know to check his messages request on?
He blocked
Hey,
me.
Scotty, check your
I
messages
did.
on Instagram.
He
I
blocked
messaged
and
him.
quit being a dill hole and not talking to the
That's
fans.
why he doesn't like you.
Thanks, bro.
whoa.
Keep crushing it.
I did.
Thanks, Jason, for being our number one fan.
I did not realize I had a message request until you mentioned it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I looked and I messaged him back for the show. I appreciate him reaching out, and I it's all good. Like that's
You could have sent him your bottle of tears.
No, I'm good. I know that I'm not ever going to be liked by everybody.
Yesterday.
It's all good. It's like that's what we here for to do it for
I
the
want
fans,
more
so.
hate mail.
You want hate mail on you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys are listening, MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. Send your thoughts on TJ and him being an idiot. All right. Our next guest of the night is on the line. He's going to be brought to you by Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew, who continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight Seat Foam. Don't forget they have complete seats for the Talare and Super 73 and covers for the Sur-Ron Segway, and they strive to ship orders within 36 hours. Visit gutsracing.com and order today, and you can use promo code VitalMX to save 20%. Tonight, Guts Racing brings us from the Liquid Moly Beta Factory Racing Team, Mitchell Oldenburg. What's up, Freckle?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man, we're having a good night. You and I were texting a little bit. How's the household, the property with the weather?
We're all right. Yeah, just my gate so far has been blown down. I got some tie downs holding it together, but yeah, we got some crazy winds today. I've never experienced winds this gnarly.
Yeah, me either. I have wood clamps up on my carport holding the tin roof on, and my back gate is knocked over. So, yeah, and I looked at the weather, and it shows like this wind for the next 20 hours or so. So, yeah, we're in for a
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, man. So, first full season in the 450 class. How do you feel about your season performance so far? New team, first full season, like I said. I feel like you're riding really well.
Yeah, it's been going good. It's I'd say it's been going how I'd hoped it would have gone.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, new team, learning new bike, learning just new people to work with, and kind of just figuring things out as we go. It's been super smooth. The team's been awesome and super helpful. I feel like the bike was in a really good spot coming into the season that we haven't really had to change much. So right now, just kind of working on myself and trying to just kind of perfect some little things and get better each weekend. So I'm really happy with how it's been going. Gotten some decent results, had some not so great races, but kind of expecting that coming into the year. And it's been a blast so far.
Okay, so you said the bike was in a pretty good place coming in, and that's kind of what I wanted to ask next. And you also said the team was running real smooth. But what were some of the things that maybe you were surprised by, good or bad, with the team and the bike? Because it is somewhat, it's untested in Supercross. I think it's second year for the team, but still learning a lot. So were you surprised by anything? Anything really impress you?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole bike really impressed me. Like I've kind of said this whole time, like they called me in July and were interested.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I need to ride the bike first just to make sure it's something I can work with. I don't really want to. Obviously, I'm towards the end of my career, or closer to the end than the beginning. So I don't want to go out on not very great equipment and struggle with results and just kind of fade away into the sport. So I went out there in July and rode the bike and was just kind of like, yeah, this is something that I can make work. I know what I need to do to achieve how I want the bike to feel. So signed with the team. I spent all of September out there. It was just me and the team. Super hot still in California, so we didn't have the greatest conditions to test and get ready. Left in September feeling like we had the bike in an okay spot, but still some question marks. But then when weather cooled down and we were able to get some moisture in the track and we had some good tracks to practice on, I was like, wow, we got this thing really good. So just kind of the whole bike, like you said, it's an unproven bike. There's not much data on it, I guess you could say. Obviously, Benny, being my teammate, he had some great results last year, but he's also 6'5" and quite a bit heavier than me. So it's kind of like, what can I take from Benny's base settings and apply to my bike? There's really just not much there for me. So,
sure.
Yeah, I think everything went very smoothly. I think I understand how I guess how to work on a motorcycle and how a motorcycle works just in general. So I think I have an understanding of why we do certain things to get the bike to feel how I want it to feel. It's something that I've kind of always made a point of, like, if we're making a change, why are we making the change? What are we doing to achieve this change? So if I run into this problem again, I can pinpoint it right away and I know what we have to do to achieve the feel that I want. So I think that kind of went a lot smoother than expected because I understand it. I understand how the motorcycle, why you do certain things to the motorcycle to achieve a certain feel. And I think we just worked really well together. Bryce, our suspension guy, is super easy to work with and communicate with, which is obviously huge and very helpful. Just being on the same page as your suspension guy is kind of the I guess just the right way to go about things and the easy way to go about things. When you're kind of butting heads with someone, it obviously gets hard. So Bryce has been awesome. Like I said, we've worked really well together, and then Brian White with the engines, he's been on it. Obviously a 450, I feel like we don't really need to do too much to it to make it fast.
Right.
But just moving the power around and putting it where we want, with Carlin's advice has been awesome as well. So just everything's been kind of just clicking off very well. Every weekend we seem to be making small improvements, and I think we're getting closer to that goal and where I feel like we should be racing at.
So your best finish of the season's an 11th. What do you feel like you need to get inside the top 10? Are there still a few things that you're trying to just fine tune with the bike that you're looking for, or is it maybe something within yourself?
I think a little bit of myself. I think I need to really, it's coming down to starts and putting myself in a position to fight for it. I think that's been the biggest struggle with me, and I guess the bike is figuring out what the bike likes and how to start on the bike. It might sound silly, but I mean, I was on the Honda for so many years. I kind of had it down to where I knew everything that the bike, as far as like throttle position, body positioning, everything like that. I had my start so dialed in, and it was just a matter of me executing them.
Yeah.
Where I've been struggling with this bike and figuring out what it likes. I'm trying to do my starts like I've done on the Honda the last 5 years, and it's just not working. So, I mean, there's so many variables that go into a start with the rider and the bike, just, body positioning and RPM and clutch release. And, does the clutch like to be hot? Does it start better if it's cold? Tires, just everything. So just trying to figure that out and kind of break it down more to a science than just pointing the finger at me or the bike. It's just something we're learning and we're figuring out. So, we have some days scheduled in the weekend off to really break it down and try some different mapping stuff and start maps and that kind of stuff, just because we have to figure it out. I'm just simply not putting myself in a position to fight and be inside the top 10 right now. So yeah, I think it's got to come down to starts and me executing a good 20 minutes.
Okay.
So that bike, or that company has many, many years of racing history and off-road, unlike like somebody like Triumph coming in new. With their coming from off-road, has there been any out-of-the-box thinking that either worked really well or you were like, yeah, that's not going to work for us?
No, not so far. Obviously Carlin Gardner was, he raced, a couple years ago, and he's raced at this level, so he gets it a little bit, or he gets it. And then Brian White also, who they ran a team together, and they've kind of been around for so long. They've kind of seen everything as far as that goes. And they just have really good input, and it's good to get their input, because I think for me, especially like on race day, I get so locked into what I need to do better that I kind of forget about the bike, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or just kind of overlook things that the bike could do better to help me do the things that I need to do. So their input's been huge. Just they're kind of outside the box thinking. Like, for instance, like Dallas, with how the dirt was, I was really struggling to like steer with my rear end and get the rear end to break loose. So for the night show, they're like, what if we throw the hard pack tire on, the hard pack rear tire on, to kind of help you to pitch the rear end around? And at first I thought, like, oh, that's silly, like the dirt's too soft, but it made sense. And I was like, what do we have to lose at this point? Like, I mean, I'm kind of finishing right where I'm supposed to be finishing, that if this works, this might propel me to that next group in front of us. So, we threw it on, and it was a right call, and it was huge for my night. Like, just brought that comfort back, into the night and into the racing. So yeah, it's just been fun, like learning how everyone works and everyone thinks.
Yeah, Mitchell, it's got to be interesting to go from, you're just trying to do the best you can in prior seasons and, for lack of a better word, survive. And then now you have this kind of new task of developing the bike. It's had to have been quite an interesting mental transition to, like you kind of just alluded to, having to adjust the bike during the day and stuff like that. It's had to have been interesting, and it's got to be cool to be on a factory team now.
Yeah, for sure. It's been fun. I feel like obviously the older I get, the more I learn and realize some things. And just like I've been saying, like everyone's just so cool to work with, and everyone's so understanding and realistic, and we just gel really well together right now. And we all have the same goals in mind, and it's fun to kind of see the progress and everyone's hard work, and everyone's putting in the effort. That it's fun to kind of reward them with some decent results, and more so just progress throughout the week and each weekend. So we're just going to keep plugging away, and like I said, hopefully we can get closer to that group in front of us and be fighting inside these top 10s here soon.
Mitch Oldenburg, brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Speaking of factory level team, again, we already talked, right? It's year 2 for this team. So what are the resources like for the team? If you need something, want to test something, want to try something new, how easy is that to get done? If whether you need to build a part or get a part from overseas or whatever, has it been pretty easy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we've had to test too much. I feel like we had a really good platform. They had a really good platform coming in that kind of, it really surprised me. And it's funny because, every single weekend there's people coming up to me and asking me how the bike is. And I tell them, exactly how I feel. Like it's an awesome bike. Like I'm really gelling with it. I feel really great on it. And they're like, no, really, like how is it?
They don't want to believe it. Yeah.
No, they just don't want to believe it. But it's honestly like it is kind of crazy how good it is. And I understand people's kind of reservations of it just because it is a new bike and it's not proven yet necessarily, but I think it's such a small group, but everyone's got the same goal, and that's just to do the best we can and just to build. And it's just been fun to experience this with everybody. Like I said, we haven't really tested much, but I haven't really had anything like pop up to where we need to fix this, otherwise
okay,
it's not good. So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Yeah,
So you guys haven't really like, let's try some different motor mounts or like stuff like that, or you're pretty. The platform was good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been good enough. Like, yeah, we tried some different motor mounts and some different offset steering and that kind of stuff. But I mean, I'm stoked with where it's at. Yeah. We have some things to try, like I said, in the off weekend, mainly for starts. But it's kind of one of them things that it might work better on the track as well. So
yeah,
it's just been going really smooth so far. It's kind of crazy.
That's good. That's great to hear. You've talked about the off weekend coming up after Indy. You mentioned it a couple times and doing some more testing, mostly for Supercross. But as far as I know, the team is considering or is going to do 3 selected outdoor rounds. Are you still in for that? Will you do any testing for that?
Yeah, I don't know about testing, but I am going to ride, a couple days outdoors, 3-4 days outdoors. That is the plan, is to do 3 outdoor rounds. Not exactly sure on what 3 yet. Mm-hmm. The last we talked about it was probably end of December. It was, I think, Hangtown, Colorado, High Point.
Okay.
I don't know if that's changed. I don't really know. We haven't really talked about it much lately, but yeah, I mean, I'm in for it. I'm a little, I guess you'd say, nervous about it.
Why?
It's been 6 years since I've raced an outdoor national. So I'm going to need as much prep as I possibly can get, because I don't want to go in there and not be competitive. Not really sure where I fit into the current field outdoors. But it's exciting. It's an exciting challenge. I am excited for it. It's, I've never raced outdoors being able to be based in Texas. So I'm really excited about that. I've always had to ride Paula and Glen Helen every week getting ready for outdoors, and just kind of got burned out on that. So excited to get on some Texas tracks and get some proper outdoor riding in. But yeah, I am excited for it. I don't really have any expectations, so I don't really know where to fit in. Obviously the team says we're doing it for fun. I tried to tell them that there's nothing really fun about outdoor nationals.
Unless you win.
It's just a straight up suffer. So,
sure.
But I'm excited for it. I feel like, I know a lot more now. I'm older. I kind of understand, a little bit more on what goes into getting ready for outdoor nationals. And, yeah, I'm excited. We'll see how it goes.
I'm actually glad you brought up the thing about training in Texas and not the West Coast hard pack tracks, because that's what I was thinking of. Is being a Texas guy, is what do you think is an advantage that you've gotten from growing up riding Texas tracks? I've never had the experience to really ride too much across the country, but what do you think that you gain as being a Texas raised kid against some of the guys that grew up on either coast?
Yeah, I just think the dirt here in Texas is just kind of some of the best in the country. Obviously, it gets hot here in the summer. It's good preparation. I feel like it's good to train in hotter temperatures than where you're going, and it's kind of hard to be hotter than it is here in Texas. So, I don't know. I really struggled with, I guess, being in California for a bit. I always feel like I do my best when I'm my happiest, mm-hmm. and when I'm around my family and at home. So I think just being able to be home and come home to my house and my kids and have my family right down the road for me during the week has just been huge for me. So, but as far as like the tracks and stuff go, like it's hard to beat the tracks we have here. We can get them to an outdoor national level as far as roughness and prep and stuff like that goes, where I feel like Paula and Glen Helen and these California tracks, they kind of struggle with it because they're trying to cater to, I guess, the majority, which would be kind of your weekend warrior amateur type riders, where we have some good tracks here where they can, there's certain days where they rip it deep and it gets rough and it gets nasty, and we can get it the best prep for what we're racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was just saying, especially in racing too, the districts down here are tough trying to qualify for Loretta's from this area is tough.
Yeah.
Like it just, especially when you were kind of growing up, you were probably a little bit after the Kennard and Lemoyne and all them, but just that whole era of Wharton's and all those guys, man, was nuts.
Yeah, exactly. I was a couple years, or quite a few years after them, but I mean, even my group, we had, Bishelia and Frace, and then we had the Oklahoma kids with Colt Nichols and Bogle and Bo Hudson. There was a good group of them around here that was just like, I mean, we had a fast group here in Texas, and it seemed like we were racing them on the weekends, and we were also racing them at the Amateur Nationals.
Yeah.
So, it was just, it's different when you get to ride with these guys every day and every week. So, it's kind of hard to beat Texas for me. Like I just love it here, and it's kind of a non-negotiable for me now. It's like I'm basing out of Texas, so I'm just not racing a dirt bike at this point,
Speaking about being close to family, I was the announcer for a long time at Oak Hill when Jeff and your family owned it. How are they doing now?
Yeah, they're good. They sold the track in 2018 and kind of went in a different direction. Mom and Dad live, 10 minutes from me now, so
that's awesome.
It's been fun. Yeah, they just kind of hanging out. My mom has a nutrition shop here in town, and my dad's just kind of doing some cabinet work and some handyman stuff here and there. But it's been good.
I know they ran the track and did all the stuff, but do you miss Mom and Dad owning the track that you could just roll up to and it's prepped how you liked it or rough as you wanted it or any of that stuff?
No, not at all. Because Dad did a lot of the work, but he had kids, so he didn't have to hire people to do the work. So there was a lot of work that went along with it. It was always work first and then riding for us growing up. So, I don't miss the track at all. It's nice just showing up, doing my laps, and going home.
Well, I miss going up there and talking with Dawn, and then they're just your parents are good people.
Arm pump from Weed Eaters and Motos, yeah.
I found out the hard way.
Did I lose you?
You there?
You there?
Oh, we lost him. Your phone.
Well, yeah.
And maybe the windstorm this time.
Hang on.
Hello.
You there?
He's not. Give me a second.
Hello.
Great.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Nope.
Mitchell.
He probably hung up. Oh, well. He didn't.
Why does that keep happening?
The Bluetooth with this board is causing a problem.
It's the Bluetooth. Because
okay.
it was working fine, and he had to change it. You know what I mean?
Hang on.
Just had to mess with it.
Had to mess with it.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, man. My board is having a problem with the Bluetooth. Anyway.
All good.
So I was about to say, I found out the hard way that Dad didn't like people riding on his grass. Yeah, because I got yelled at for that. I got yelled at for that. Hey, I want to ask you, you talked about a lot of the members of the team. How is it working with Taylor, your mechanic? I've always liked him over the last few years. He's a funny dude. Kind of busted my balls and Lewis's balls for saying beta. He doesn't like it when we say beta. But, Taylor seems like a good guy.
Yeah, no, Taylor's been awesome. We've gelled really well together and grown really close the last couple months. Just kind of figuring this whole thing out together. He's been super helpful and great to have in my corner. And I feel like we keep each other in check, keep each other realistic with our expectations and focused on the task at hand. And we just go out there, do our best, and try to get better during the week and really just get better every time we touch the dirt bike.
Yeah, and that's important when you have somebody, I'm sure, that you work on your bike that you trust, not only that but get along with. I can't imagine showing up to a track and not liking your mechanic.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a good feeling knowing that your guys got your back 100% and you can put your trust in him.
A couple more things before we let you go. So I believe you were the first rider in history to qualify for a 450 Supercross on a 250.
Yep, yeah, that was me.
So Cody Schock did it this weekend. That was pretty cool to see. Why do you think more guys don't do that on their off weekends?
I think it just comes down to money and getting to the races. Mm-hmm. It's obviously tough, especially as a privateer and maybe a lower level team. But I mean, I always thought it was great preparation. I did it in 2015 with Jimmy Albertson and Greg Albertson and the Arma Yamaha team.
Mm-hmm.
So it got kind of just, that was our plan that year, was just to race a couple West Coast rounds to get ready for the East Coast. And then Houston was a West Coast round that year, and it was obviously just right down the road from us. So I went down there and did that. And I don't know, I think it's tough. Like it's, if it makes sense and you can make it work financially, like it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you? But to kind of go out of your way and drive, extra far and spend extra money to do it, it's kind of, I mean, essentially you're bringing a knife to a gunfight. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like what's the point if you're not getting, I guess, financial return on it? But yeah, if it makes sense, I think every privateer should do it. It's practice. I mean, the best practice you can get is at a race. So, yeah.
One more. You know what?
That's fine. I have a question real quick while you're doing that. So y'all are only doing a few outdoor nationals. Does that mean that they're going to open up the ability for you to go do like possibly some cross country races or some off road stuff?
I'm not sure, actually. It's never been talked about, but I did get a trials bike from them last week, and that has been a blast. So I might look into some amateur trials events around here in Texas and see what I can do, because man, that's been the most fun I've ever had or have had lately on a dirt bike is just riding trials. And